Is it possible that these talks would restart?
I think it's very possible. Look, they're on hold at the moment. As far as we know, this deal was pretty much done and buttoned up going into the weekend. It sounds like as recently as yesterday, people were expecting to be sort of flying down to get the thing over the line with an announcement scheduled for Tuesday. So, look, it obviously fell down at the last hurdle. Now, what I understand from conversations I've had in the last hour or so is that it broke down over price. There was a price agreed that was around $28.25. Both sides were comfortable with that. I'm led to believe that that was actually in the materials that were going to go out. Then, and this is very important, then Broadcom found something that they thought was maybe not quite right in the due diligence, so the price was cut a little bit. And obviously Symantec felt that that cut was not something they could live with, and so have walked away. Now, we often see these things kind of happen at the last minute. What doesn't usually happen is it doesn't usually get leaked into the press like it did with this one. It remains to be seen whether that alone kills the deal. Exactly.
We should mention that CNBC had earlier reported that talks were called off. Now, do we have any indication of what the due diligence failed to see?
No, we don't at this point. Obviously, we will be trying to establish that in our reporting as the morning goes on. But they obviously found something, and it sounds like it was something relatively minor, just by the virtue of the fact that the price cut I heard about was not huge. It was somewhere in the region of $1, $1.50. We're not talking about them saying, actually, we want like 20% off the offer price.
The other question is there somebody else that might come in here, swoop in? Now the work is all done, all they need to do is offer up the money. Is there a balance sheet out there that's capable of doing that?
You know, Symantec is one of these companies that has been perennially for sale. It's been on the block for sort of years and years, and it's had an activist in there in the form of Starboard for a long time, which would make it an easier target should someone want to buy it. So it's not obvious that someone is just going to swoop in for this. They could have done it at any point in the past few months when all the reporting is going on. And as I say, long-term, Symantec is one of those companies that has been known to be potentially for sale.
It sounds like there needs to be a mediator here. Obviously, I could see both sides of the issue and how, neither would want to go back to the other and restart talks. But is there potentially a role for the activist here?
Well, the activist is already on the board. So Starboard already has a board seat. You also have Ken Howe of Silver Lake on the board of the company. So you have, in the form of those two alone, but also some other people on the board of Symantec, you have this sort of anti-entrenchment crowd. These are not people who are going to say, oh, we're going to keep this company just for the sake of having a board seat. They're going to sell it if they feel the price is right.
Right. So is there a role for them to go back to Broadcom and say, look, you're right, there was a due diligence issue, or to bring the lower price to the board and say, look, we should think about this?
Potentially, yes. You could take the counter argument and say these are some fairly big egos and they're going to feel, A, annoyed that the price has been cut at the final hour, but they also may feel annoyed that this is out in the press. I mean, often these things happen behind the scenes. We may not even know about them until the background to the merger comes out, by which point it's all done and dusted anyway. I think the two things to look at here is there a number that the two sides can now agree on? But also, does the fact that this has become public and they don't want to play it out in front of, the media circus, does that become an impediment to getting the deal done?